You may not realize it, but at this very moment, you're performing. In fact, everyone in this room is performing right now. Don't believe me? Let me show you. How you're sitting right now is a performance. What you're wearing today is a performance. Even your reaction to what I just said to them is a performance. I believe everything is a performance and everyone is a performer. Here's why. Acting is not limited to actors. One of the most influential sociologists of the 20th century, Erving Goffman, believed that every action in front of an audience is a social performance. The purpose is to create specific impressions of ourselves in the eyes of others. So when it comes to social interactions, we take on the role of actors, performing on a metaphorical, never-ending stage for an audience. If we go even further back, one of the greatest writers of all time, William Shakespeare, said, "All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts." Unsurprisingly, when we think of performers, we typically think of celebrities. But for every Beyonce, Barack Obama, and Brad Pitt, there are also the everyday performers. The student, the intern, the customer, the corporate exec, the newlywed, the tourist, the parent. The average person plays many roles, both major and minor, over the course of their life. Of course, as kids, we're filled with dreams of becoming astronauts, princesses, cowboys, just to name a few. Everything feels possible. And then as we grow up, life has a habit of getting in the way. And our dream roles remain just that, dreams. By force or by choice, we evolve the iterations of the characters we play. Take me, for instance. At the age of 8, I had big dreams. I wrote down on a block of wood that I would be a world-famous actor and a great dad. In my head, that meant 3 things. 1, I would be in films with Robin Williams and Al Pacino. 2, I would be married at the age of 26. And 3, I would have 3 kids, and I even had names for them. Here's how that turned out. While I'm a trained actor, I'm not world famous. Instead, I was inspired by the work and training of Robin Williams and Al Pacino to start Singapore's first method acting and creativity school. Over the last 10 years, I've built a community of over 10,000 amazing people and have orchestrated the production of a couple hundred shows along the way. I didn't get married in my 20s. Instead, I only tied the knot at 40. And we don't have 3 kids yet, but I do have 3 beautiful godchildren whom I love tremendously. My life now barely resembles what I envisioned as a kid. On the flip side, after nearly 20 years of working in Los Angeles and Singapore, I've had the great privilege to coach people from all walks of life. From corporate leaders and executives of Fortune 500 companies to world-famous actors who've appeared in major Hollywood films. Now, here's something that I've noticed that's common across the board of ages, cultures, demographics, and occupations of the people that I've worked with. It does not matter what the performance is, be it small or big, there are only 3 reasons why people fail. The first 2 are factors out of our control and self-sabotage. Factors out of our control is when we have full self-awareness and 0 control. The reality is, life isn't fair. We all start from a different place in the human race, so there will always be limitations beyond our agency to change them. For example, once any personal or professional performance leaves my body, it doesn't belong to me anymore. It belongs to you, my audience, and you can do whatever you want with it. That's your right and my limitation. Now, when we talk about self-sabotage, it's the opposite of factors out of our control. It's when we have limited to zero self-awareness, but everything is actually within our control. Examples of self-sabotage include having an inner monologue of poor self-worth, procrastination, a fear of failure, perfectionism, a lack of self-care, allowing our unconscious habits and nervous tics to corrupt our work. Which then brings us to our third reason for failure. All of us in this room have said versions of these three statements. Oh, I wish I had. Oh, if only I had. Oh, why didn't I? Oh. These are examples of the regret we feel about our work. And that's because our preparation process was vague. It's when we have full self-awareness to hone and improve our work, but the control over our time, effort, and focus to prepare was inconsistent. When we don't prepare, when we don't know how to prepare, when we prepare inadequately, most times our usual solution is to wing it. The truth is that actually works. Sometimes. But when we have a good day or a bad day, we're never really sure what made it so. So then, how do we curb the impact of the three failure factors? More importantly, how do we supercharge our success? The key is to create a customized moment before. What you're doing, my lovelies, is you're building a solid foundation for what's to come. The moment before might sound like when you pause, take a breath, and steady yourself for the performance ahead. And I know it may sound insignificant, but when examined and expanded, the moment before actually contains a whole multiverse of customizable options for your performance success. And I'm not just talking about big, high-stakes scenarios like auditions, job interviews, first dates, presentations, and investment pitches. What I'm saying to you is having a moment before elevates the mundane into magic. The moment before is the psychologically safe, private time and physical space that you give yourself where the unseen, unglamorous, real work is done. You give yourself the permission to access the full spectrum of your abilities, and free from performance pressure, you become relentless in your visualization, in your experimentation, in your tune-ups, to the point where your method of preparation becomes second nature. The moment before is as long as you like, or as long as you're allowed. Right up till the second before you make your entrance, before the director calls action, or for many of us these days, when your online meeting begins. Now, typically, we focus so much on the now and performance success. The irony is we underestimate how much the now and performance success is so dependent on the moment before. And even if we do honor the moment before, we don't really know how to build one. What if I told you that there is a method to design and implement your own customized moment before? Better yet, that same blueprint is occupation agnostic and 100% tailor-made to you. Here's how. So you heard that I believe that we're all performers who play multiple characters in one life. So let's look to a group of what I consider the most dedicated and invested performers. Now, they're not just actors, they're method actors. And I've had the great pleasure to work with many of them. The method in method acting, in short, actually refers to how an actor methodically prepares to play a role truthfully and realistically. Method actors, or should I say methodical actors, typically have a personalized, reliable set of tools, skills, rituals, and systems to immerse themselves into a character. They understand the significance of the moment before. They know that there is no good, bad, right, wrong in preparation as long as they don't hurt themselves or hurt other people. The only method that matters is the one that works for them. And here's the thing. To build your method of your customized moment before, it's a lot simpler than you might think. In my practice, using theater for personal transformation, my method to build your customized moment before is the sum of 3 concepts. Know thyself, know thy character, and build thy craft. The Socratic concept of know thyself is who you are in private, psychologically and physically safe spaces. Imagine it's like your location, where you are now. Know thy character is who you are in public, meaning who and how you present yourself in front of personal and professional audiences. Now that you've mapped your point A and your point B, all you have to do is build thy craft. Like an instrument that can be tuned, all you have to do is adjust yourself appropriately from the self to the character. Now, the self and the character, and every character that you play, now and in the future, in private and in public, can be mapped out in 4 simple yet very profound ways: physical, vocal, mental, and spiritual. Physical refers to the things you do and how you do them. Vocal is all about the things you say and how you say them. Mental is the frameworks that guide your comprehension, your interpretation, and your decision making. Now, when it comes to spiritual, that's maybe the least understood concept or trait. For me, it's about your desires, your personal subjective feelings about things, your emotional memories and triggers, your values and your belief system. When you map out the self and the character into clear, objective, and specific traits, all you have to do is build thy craft. I'll tell you what. Let's take a moment and we're going to do some imagineering for a second, all right? I'm going to use myself as an example. Now, contrary to popular assumption when I'm in large groups, in private, I'm actually an introvert. I know, right? Now, my introvert identity is made up of physical, vocal, mental, and spiritual traits. An example of a physical trait that I embody as an introvert is I'm not really fond of making eye contact with people. Now, let's map the character. In public, I aspire to be a storyteller who empowers others. My storyteller identity is made up of a different set of these 4 traits. An example of a physical trait that I embody as a storyteller is I'm very deliberate and very intentional with my eye contact, as the 2 people in front, my lovely volunteers, can attest to. Now that I've mapped out the self and the character, all I have to do is build that craft. My craft is a 4-stage process. 1, establishing what traits physically, vocally, mentally, and spiritually that the introvert and the storyteller have in common. 2, magnifying the fullness of the traits that intersect. 3, tuning out the parts of myself that don't serve the character that I aspire to be. And 4, identifying and working on those traits that I have yet to master. Now that I know what the self and the character are all about, that's how I build my craft. Now, maybe you look at this method that I've just shown you, and you're beginning to start to believe when I say that we do indeed play many characters over the course of our life. And maybe what you're thinking to yourself is, okay, I get it, but what I really, really want is I want to be better, even better in my public performances. Well, here's the thing. That same system that I showed you is applicable to shift who you are in public now and how you present yourself, your version 1, to who you aspire to be, your version 2. And maybe you already know who your version 2.0 is. But if you don't, that's okay, because this is where you get to be audacious. Ask yourself, if society did not expect anything from you, who would you really like to be? Maybe you're a student in university, and who you would really like to be is a tech startup founder of $1 billion business. Or maybe you're like me, and you're newly married, and who you'd also really like to be is a great dad. Now, what I'm asking you to do is I'm asking you to be specific in the roles that you pick so that you can reverse engineer them. Because when you have a detailed inventory of traits, it becomes so much easier to build that craft. And once you do, your customized moment before is within your grasp. The objective of the customized moment before is to make the aspirational atomic and actionable. Because when you control your preparation, you control your performance. And this breeds a sincere belief in the possibilities of your greatness and a quiet hum of confidence. All you have to do is give yourself the time, space, and effort to build your method of preparation. Your reward is a rich inventory in your choice making. Now, truthfully, it takes a lot of effort to make something look effortless. But all you have are the choices that you make. Remember, the moment before is not a pursuit of perfection. It's a pursuit of excellence, moment to moment. If you only remember one thing from today, it's this: the invisible brilliance of your life's greatest performances come from the power of the moment before. Thank you.